All right, hello and welcome to the first exciting episode of Man vs. Machine. I'm your host, Brenton House, and joining me is my co-host, Korben Lawrence, the brilliant marketing mind from Citadel Innovations. Korben, it's great to talk with you today.
Yeah, thanks, Brenton. I'm really glad to be here and excited to dive into some of the topics we have prepared today.
All right, since this is our first episode of Man vs. Machine, let me give everyone a quick background on this show. So, as everyone knows, AI has kind of taken the forefront of conversations, not just in the tech industry, but also marketing and every other vertical. Now, you can find a lot of information about AI out there, and some would say a little bit too much. This show is going to be a little bit different in that we're going to explore how AI interacts holistically with your business and your life. So we'll be exploring everything from the latest in AI, the latest in breakthroughs, trends, tools, and impact this has on everyday life. And that's when Korben and I were talking and wanted to bring a marketing perspective into what's often seen as just a technical topic. So let's jump into it with some of the topics. And I think the first one we wanted to hit was Nvidia. So Nvidia is a tech giant that's been making huge strides in AI. And Korben, I'm sure Nvidia is a name that's come up in a couple of marketing strategy meetings lately.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been really pushing the boundaries with their latest GPU architecture Hopper, designed specifically for AI and data science. And though that sounds kind of technical, this isn't really just something that excites people in the tech industry. This could really revolutionize marketing analytics with its increased processing capabilities. But what really got everyone talking these last couple of days is the recently reported earnings. That was quite a shocker when that was released.
Yeah, Nvidia's Q1 earnings reports out, and you're right, it is something. The revenue beat expectations and kind of showed that the demand for their AI and gaming chips is very strong. So if I remember right, I think their stock spiked 26% following the announcement.
Yeah, and that was really impressive because you don't see that happen too often. And it really seems like their investments in AI have been paying off. I know that last fall, they had run into some issues, overproduced some on their graphics cards and had to sell some heavily discounted. But from the looks of it, they've, definitely recovered from that and are doing really well lately.
Yep. I think Nvidia's AI platforms find itself in a whole range of sectors. Everywhere from data centers and cloud computing to now automotive and consumer electronics. But they're obviously showing everyone that they are at the forefront of AI technology wave right now.
Yeah, and it's not just their AI platform that's been doing really well. Their gaming industry, their gaming business, with their GPUs, has been doing really well also.
Yeah, I think their gaming business is still their largest segment, and it saw robust growth as well. I think largely driven by the high demand for their graphics processing units or their GPUs, which are obviously not just only essential for gaming, but they're also vital for AI computing as they power a lot of the supercomputers behind AI. So this dual demand is certainly contributing to their strong performance.
Yeah. No, and Nvidia is definitely going to be one of those companies that you're going to want to keep a close eye on over these next few weeks and months, just with them being at the forefront of all of this new technology. But I guess speaking of tech giants, I know you watched Google's recent I/O 2023 event, and it was quite a show. Honestly, I lost count halfway through how many times the words AI were used. But, in all seriousness, the advancements they're making in their AI language model really stood out to me. It's becoming a lot more natural and nuanced. And I think it's a big step for accessibility and how we interact with all this new technology that's been released recently.
Yeah, Google's AI language model improvements seem to they're going to be pretty significant.
For sure. Yeah.
They want you to be able to kind of imagine being able to have a more fluent, natural conversation with your devices. And I think it'll open up a world of possibilities for those who rely on voice technology a lot, whether that's for accessibility reasons or simply as part of their daily routine. Now, granted, Google is not the only one with this technology, nor were they the first.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely true. It seems like Google has been playing a little bit of catch up in the last couple months in the AI regarding the AI market. With Bing, with Microsoft and OpenAI definitely being prominent competitors in that field. But I feel like one announcement that they have done pretty well with was their Google Assistant. I feel like that got some pretty neat upgrades. I was kind of curious what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, the Google Assistant, I think, now can understand and respond to more complex queries. And I think they want it to be a more intuitive, more user-friendly experience. And the goal for them, I think, was to create a more seamless interaction to kind of bridge the gap between user and device.
Yeah. And they also announced or introduced the new, I think it was the TPU V5. It was that new chip that's engineered to, give machine learning a significant boost. It's a lot more powerful and efficient. And we're seeing a direct interplay now here between hardware and software innovations. And that's really going to be pushing some of the boundaries of what AI is capable of and what it can do. So I guess, all in all, there were a lot of announcements made at Google I/O this year, but I don't know, what were your take on all that they spoke on?
So, I think it was good. I really like hearing about the chip, and I think we're going to start seeing more of the big companies start working on, if they haven't already been working on, creating their own GPU chips to use with machine learning and AI, just because they want to be able to have control over it and not depend on Nvidia and others. So overall, I think it was good, but I have to say it kind of left me a little bit of an underwhelming feeling. And I know there was a lot talked about, but maybe it's because I feel like Google's kind of dropped the ball over the last few years and is really playing catch up with OpenAI and now Microsoft. And I guess I just feel like most of what they ended up announcing sounded like stuff that we're already hearing from others in the market, and even consumers. So, when OpenAI released ChatGPT, it really it brought AI to conversations, to the non-technical people even talking about it. So people are already familiar with a lot of the AI and responding and some of the things about AI and machine learning. And so the way Google phrased things and talked about it, I felt like they were acting like they were the only ones out there doing this, but everybody already knows that there's people out there doing it. But granted, I'm going to keep obviously a close eye on this, because although I kind of expected bigger things from Google, I do expect Google in the next coming months to have some really big announcements and come out some big things, because they have a lot of money and a lot of good talent there that they can apply to this.
Yeah, for sure. It's, I definitely do emphasize with that, for, kind of what I was expecting with all the new technology that's been coming out. I expected something really big coming from them, like possibly them being ahead of the, OpenAI with some of that technology, and it was a little underwhelming. But, I guess kind of speaking on some of Google's shortcomings and their competitors, I guess Bing, that search engine that no one used until this year, well, they just teamed up with ChatGPT, and, we already knew that they've been using integration, with OpenAI and GPT into Bing a couple weeks ago. Though weeks seem like years in AI time, just because of all the technology that's been coming out. But I guess some more recent news is that Bing is now integrating into ChatGPT, so the other way around. This means that users can turn on this option to give ChatGPT the ability to quickly search Bing if the question or answer requires a lot more recent information. So this is really going to be changing a lot of things. I don't know, but how do you think this is going to change how we use the web to search? Yeah,
this is big. things are happening so fast in this world. I mean, when ChatGPT 3.5 and 4.0 came out, and then they started adding, they added the plugins, which allowed you to get internet access. So before, I mean, everybody knew you'd get the message, I'm sorry, I only know things up to whatever, September 21 or whatever the date was that GPT was trained on. But now it really brings in a lot of the real-time data into your searches and results when you're having a conversation with ChatGPT. So I've tried the plugin store. I've tried a lot of the different plugins out there with ChatGPT that allow you to get internet access. And I've also tried having a conversation with, integrating Bing into it, which is separate than the plugin store. So you have to pick one or the other when you're doing it. But I found the experience with Bing was worked really well. So it doesn't give you a lot of insight into what's going on in the API calls behind there, but it was a really good experience, and it really helped bring in some of that real-time data into combine that with the machine learning AI that's in ChatGPT. So yes, I definitely think this is going to start changing how we search, because it does all this stuff for you, and it brings all the information to you instead of going down the list of search results and looking at a whole bunch of results trying to figure out which one to click on. And if you click on it, can I actually find anything on this page that I thought was going to be there? Now you have it bringing information, collecting all that, scraping the web, bringing that to you. Now, granted, it's not always going to be accurate and the best information at first, but it's getting better by the day. And at the speed that everything's changing, I expect the quality of this to get much better in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, and I guess kind of speaking on the quality of it is, it's just really amazing to think back, 2 months ago, when we were still using, 3.5 before 4.0 came out. It's just looking back and seeing what we were using. You mentioned that it only had information up to, 2021. And you would run into as an AI model all the time. And wouldn't be able to provide information. So now it's just insane, using it, and the amount of technology that's at and information at your fingertips when you're using this. It seems almost like a completely different product and tool than it was before. But yeah, no, I completely agree with all of that, and it's just stunning, this day and age we're in, where all this technology is, released to the public and anyone can use. But I guess here's a real curveball for you. I was just kind of curious, how do you think this is going to change the game for those in SEO, in search engine optimization and digital marketing?
I think, as you said, with everything's going to change in the marketing world, and I think this is one of those things. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I think a lot of people in marketing don't see the value yet in AI and don't see the future that's coming in AI. It really is going to change everything. Think about it for a minute, because right now you optimize your content on your blogs, your web pages and everything so that Google will index your stuff. And hopefully, if you're good and you get a lot of backlinks and things like that, you can be in the top 10 of the search results.
Yeah.
Well, how much is that going to matter here in a matter of weeks and months when AI gets good enough to be able to give you the correct information and say, yeah, your links are still down there, but they're below all the
absolutely
the AI conversation that's going on in front of, and on top of that. So it's going to change SEO, because now you're going to have to figure out, how do I optimize my content so that, one, AI will pick it up, but two, everybody knows it came from my site and my branding is still in the information. So people are going to get really creative about how they phrase things on their website so that it gets picked up, but that their branding and the information still is included in the results that are presented by AI to the search user. So this, yes, is going to change everything. But on a separate note, I know it's kind of a rabbit trail, but I know Google's also talking about integrating AI into the ads as well. So I think that's one of the reasons. I know I give Google a hard time about dropping the ball on AI, but everybody kind of knows why they did. They had the best of AI working for them, but they didn't want to lose the money from their ad business. So now that OpenAI and ChatGPT all came out, they don't really have a choice.
Yeah,
they have released something. So they're also having to make a decision, and they're going to start integrating AI into their ads so that the ad can display information custom to that user who's going and searching on the web. So it's no longer creating static text. It can, one, look at the content, your website, two, look at what they're searching for and kind of use AI to come up with these titles and ads at runtime kind of for custom for this user. So we'll probably talk about this later in maybe another episode when there's more information about it. But all of this is kind of really part of answering your question. Yes.
Yeah.
SEO is going to totally change, and it really is going to make it a personalization game.
Yeah, and it's exciting reading about the I know at the recent I/O, some of the things that they announced were a little underwhelming, as we said earlier, but especially with the announcement of how they're trying to catch up with ads and integrating AI. I completely agree with what you said on how their industry kind of relied on everyone was 80% of users or of their income was coming from Google searches and people using their search engine. But now that you can just completely get around that and use ChatGPT or Bing or Bard, all these different options, I can imagine they're probably getting really worried over there at Google and trying to counteract or kind of hop on the bandwagon to try to figure out what the next step is. But going back to SEO and everything, it's really changing AI, how we do everything, and in digital marketing as well. So if you're in marketing and you're not working hard to stay ahead with the latest AI and marketing news, you're going to fall so far behind that you're not going to be able to know how to catch up. So it's really important for those of you out there who are, in the social media management world or in the digital marketing world, just to really stay up to date on how everything's changing, because everything's happening so fast. It's even hard for the experts to stay on top of all the new information that's coming out. So listening to podcasts like this or watching videos online or reading articles, these are all things you can do to help educate yourself on this ever-changing world now that AI has come in and just blown all of us away. But sorry, I went a little rant there.
No, yeah. Marketers like yourself and others really have to be able to roll with these changes.
Yeah,
there's a huge amount. What I'm seeing, and there's a huge amount of resistance to changing, and this is just a fad. It's going to go away soon, and they just kind of stick their head in the sand kind of thing. But you really have to roll with the changes and find new ways to engage, because AI is going to make things interesting here.
Yeah, for sure. And, I guess, speaking of keeping things interesting, I know a little bit of news that kind of stuck out to me earlier in the week that might hit kind of close to home for all you fast food lovers out there. Wendy's, the international fast food chain, I believe it was recently released that they're partnering with Google to train an AI chatbot for taking orders. What are your thoughts on this? I know it's a very different topic from what we were speaking on earlier, but
but I mean, I think this points to there's a clear sign that AI isn't just for tech companies anymore. Yeah. So this partnership really shows that AI is not limited to any one industry. And I mean, there's a lot of potential for significantly enhanced customer experience. And assuming that AI doesn't totally mess up my burger, I mean, how many times your search results aren't what you want? I'm hoping that there's better results with your burger and your order at Wendy's. But I'm joking. All joking aside, I mean, This is a
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah, for sure. And that is a great point, though. It seems like Wendy's is using AI, though, to kind of offer their customers a little bit of a faster and more streamlined ordering process. I think that's probably what their motives were. But, could there be any other potential drawbacks to all of this, other than occasionally getting your burger wrong?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to consider all the aspects. Well,
Yeah.
AI chatbots right now can probably handle the straightforward orders. I can imagine it might be a little bit more. It might struggle a little bit more with complex and kind of customized requests with the order. People changing their mind. They're like, "Oh no, can you put?" Really once the complexity gets in there. But I assume there's going to be a lot of testing. But it just goes again to show that this technology is rapidly improving, and I'm sure Wendy's is not going to be the last that we're going to hear of companies like this introducing chatbots and other things into their products and into their customer experience.
Yeah. It's really crazy how, like you mentioned, it's really coming into so many different industries, and how it's not just affecting, marketing or the tech industries. But I guess this collaboration between Wendy's and Google truly goes to show, how AI is becoming part of our everyday lives now, even when we're just, swinging out to grab a bite to eat. So it's just kind of crazy, all of these changes that are happening.
Yeah, it really is fascinating to kind of watch how rapidly AI is being integrated into these different sectors, and not only that, integrating, but it's revolutionizing. It integrates and then it revolutionizes the way that all of us do everything. And we're only seeing a little bit of it right now, but I think in the coming weeks and months, we're going to start seeing a whole lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just taking a look at Boston, you've probably read, how they introduced a new policy that uses generative AI to help formulate new policies. I don't know, what were your thoughts on that? Because I know that was kind of some news to hear, that governments or in structures and cities and stuff are using this technology now for, policies.
Yeah, I think this is a fascinating development because essentially Boston is using AI to kind of help create a more data-driven and comprehensive approach to policymaking. And well, it'll be interesting to see what actually comes out of it after they make their plans and start trying to do stuff. I mean, the idea is definitely a unique use of AI and one that could have far-reaching implications if we start seeing things like this.
Yeah, I mean, it sure seems like it. AI is no longer confined to the realms of tech and marketing, as I mentioned earlier. It's now, in fast food industry, it's now helping shape the policies of our cities. I mean, can you imagine if this trend kind of catches on and how far it'll spread?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if
no, I wouldn't either.
It does, because, I mean, we're looking at potential new ways of compiling and presenting data in an exponentially faster process. So it's important to remember, though, that, I mean, data-driven decisions like this, they're still going to require humans. You still need your subject matter experts, but it's going to be incredible to see how this goes and to see how it exposes the incredible potential and power of AI.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, I guess, though, on the other side of things, it was in the news. I'm sure you read it. A lawyer was recently reprimanded by a judge for using ChatGPT to create a brief that consulted references to a case that were completely bogus. They didn't exist. And I guess so. That kind of goes to show that we still have a lot to be careful with. We have to be responsible and careful to verify the information that is coming out of AI and to make sure it's actually true. I do have to say that these are amazing times where we're living in now with all this new technology coming out. But it's also, we have to be responsible with how we use it, and use some caution as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is just the beginning. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be, a lot of times it's human error that combined with AI that gets some of the headlines. But as AI continues to evolve and find new applications, I mean, who knows where we're going to see it next? It's definitely a thrilling journey to be on.
Yeah, for sure. Emma, I guess, speaking of human error and AI mistakes, there's something else that's been, popping up on the headlines. The reports of a simulated test where an AI-controlled U.S. military drone mistakenly killed its operator. This got a lot of people concerned. However, a few days later, the Air Force announced that it was simply a hypothetical thought experiment that was not based on any real AI simulations. What are your takes on that? Speaking of some of how this is revolutionizing the way we use it and the mistakes and dangers it could cause.
Yeah, I know headlines are often driven by the sensational, but
true.
Let's be honest here. Even if we were talking about a real simulated test here, it's essential to keep it in perspective. Simulated tests are designed to find and fix flaws. So this incident, while it seems unfortunate, it's just part of the process of refining and improving technology. Actually, if I had to guess, I would say that this experiment very likely did take place, but it was probably years ago. From the general description I saw, at least that was publicly released, there wasn't much info, but
yeah,
the tests and simulations seem far too simplistic and trivial to be an actual Air Force AI experiment that was current. But it's important to remember that these kinds of tests are necessary.
For sure.
If you don't have tests that push AI until it breaks, especially if you're in the military, what are you actually measuring and what can you depend on?
Yeah. So I guess you don't think that we're seeing AI working on its evil plan to eliminate the human race or anything like that?
Yeah, no. No, safety is important in any kind of software and hardware development. This incident, if anything, it just underlines the thoroughness of the testing procedures and the importance to learn and improve.
Yeah.
So while headlines like this can be startling, it's important for everybody to understand the full context, and that we need to keep open but cautious minds as more and more news about AI is constantly published.
Yeah. And I guess, all of these advancements that we've been talking about are all kind of underlining the tangible benefits that AI represents. They could form the backbone of powerful narratives around how AI is contributing to society and making life better. And, let's not forget that these narratives are an essential part of effective marketing strategies too, because with all of these new, headlines coming out, with all of this new technology, obviously, what are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree. I think it's very clear, at least to me, that AI is not just shaping our future, but it is rewriting the strategy, not just for marketing, but strategy for businesses in every vertical. I know we're going to continue to dive deeper in future episodes of Man versus Machine to kind of discuss these interactions between AI and our world, but it's important to stay up to date and to learn as much as you can. Both you and I know that, the amount of headlines that are out there, our show would go on for hours if we tried to pick it up, because there's so many headlines that are AI related and everything that's right now. But
absolutely,
I do appreciate you joining today so we could go through at least a few of them.
Yeah, most certainly, it's been an absolute pleasure. And if I did have to leave everyone in marketing, just one piece of advice for everything that's been going on, it would be this: dig into the world of AI and how this is changing marketing. The disruption is happening quickly, and you don't want to be left behind. So it's just really important to stay up to date, as you mentioned, just to stay ahead of the curve, because our worlds are changing, and just not in marketing alone, but as you mentioned, throughout multiple industries and businesses. But yeah, thanks again.
All right, yeah, thank you, Korben. I really appreciate your insights on this. So subscribe to this channel and to our Man versus Machine show as we explore more about the exciting world of AI. And until next time.
All right, thanks.